Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Ducksy Gaming and the next episode of the Layback Exile. Now, it's been a while since my last episode. I've been away all weekend, and this was a really grindy week in terms of content that I had to complete to try and push the build a little further. Essentially, nearly all of the time has gone on farming Deli mirrors and then using 2 Delirium orbs on a map to get it to 40% Deli, so I can then farm bosses to get the Interrogation jewel. So at the same time, I've also been farming Harvest, Recombinators, and Essences to try and get a Tri-Ellie bow in case I do manage to land the Interrogation jewel. I'm definitely going to need a different bow. I've also got a new chest and managed to craft a new bow. So we'll go through all the gear in a moment. Then we'll look at the POB. There'll be footage sort of going on intermittently of content that I've completed. So it really was just focusing on Delirium and Essences. I've got my Atlas to all but 2 completion. So I've got the Wolfpack Den to complete. And then I think Acton's Nightmare, I think it's called. I've got that one to do as well. But I'm not overly fussed. I'll just do them as they appear in Kirak missions, or if he sells them, or if they the maps drop, then I'll just complete them as and when. In terms of episodes going forward, I don't know how many there's going to be left, because the build, although I can push it a bit further with some better cluster jewels and a better quiver and fine-tune in the implicits on items, it's really going to be Omniscience that takes this build to the next level, where it kind of goes up to the next tier of content. And since the drop rates seems to be between about 1 and 2%, I don't know how likely that's going to be farming part-time. Basically, if I get it, it's going to be super lucky. So what we'll do is go through all of the gear, but I'll focus sort of more time on the chest and the bow because they're the new additions to the build. Then I'll go over the POB, what it looks like with Interrogation in. And then I'm going to go over what I want to do next episode, which it might be the last one, depends how I get on, but we'll cover that at the end of the episode. So if we start with the gear. So the bow that I crafted is not amazing, but this works much better with Interrogation because it's actually got some cold damage on it, and my previous bow was just fire and lightning. So it doesn't have crit chance on it, but I don't really need it because with brittle, I think I only need to get 6 or 7 brittle on an enemy to get 100% crit chance. So I don't need crit chance on the bow. And this is the bow I ended up stopping at. So it was done with Recombinators to get the 3 Ellie damage rolls. They're not perfect because I think 2 of them went down a tier. So this was Essence, and tier 3, and it ended up Essence, tier 2, and tier 4. So it's not ideal, but it's pretty decent, especially with T2 attack speed. So if I do want to push this build further in terms of bow crafting, I'm going to have to spend days farming Essences and Recombinators to try and get like a triple Essence bow with the same attack speed on it. The chest, as I say, was new. I had a Temple chest drop, and then I recombinated it with another decent chest that I had drop with high evasion and spell suppression chance, and this is basically what the chest turned into. Had an open prefix so I can craft the elemental ailments. I've then 6-linked it because I've had an absolute ton of fusions drop from doing like Delirium farming, from doing Sentinels in every map. I ended up with like 1,200 fusions, and it luckily linked within the 1,200 fusions. So I've kept my other chest. That's just in the stash for if I want to try and recraft it, or if I maybe want to level another character, then I've got a nice 6-link to do that. Helmet could definitely be better, but the spell suppression on it I need at the moment. So for now, I'm stuck with this helmet. It has got good evasion, it's got suppression, it's got crafted life, and then, semi-decent resistances. In terms of implicits, I've gone for Fizz taken as fire because I don't have any Fizz mitigation other than a flask. And then I've gone for reduced mana cost of skills to help with spamming Tornado Shot. The amulet is the one we've had all along. Again, this could definitely be better because I'm pretty sure I don't need the crit chance now. So this is something I'll probably look to recraft at some point because I do have quite a few jewelry recombinators. I just don't have any good essences at the moment because I've used the majority of them. Rings. So I had this ring drop or unveiled. I can't remember which one it was. It's not brilliant, but I do need non-channeling skills, and I still haven't got the craft from Elrion, which is absolutely ridiculous. I've done so many Katarinas. I must have killed him 30 to 40 times, and he's never dropped a ring with the right prefix on it. So I need to use this for now. If we do ever get the ring to drop or an amulet and get the craft, then great. I can start looking for better rings because they are quite bad. They're essentially just resistances and life. There's not really any damaging aspects other than a crafted Ellie damage to attacks. But they do fill in a lot of my resistances. So for now, I do need to keep them. But they're two items that I'd certainly be targeting to craft better with things like crit multi, flat damage, highly damage, stuff like that. The quiver again is not brilliant. I really would like a plus arrow quiver since I've had to drop the +1 arrows from my bow. But it is pretty decent. It's got damage of bows, very low crit multiplier, decent crit chance, really high lightning damage and crafted attack speed. This could definitely be better. Again, I need to restock my essences to be able to start crafting one though. The gloves are something I definitely need to replace because now that I am using Interrogation, I'm getting chill from somewhere. I'm not sure where I'm getting chill from, but I don't shock and I don't ignite enemies. So these two mods are absolutely worthless. So, well, they do give good resistances, I'll give them that. But other than that, these gloves are pretty pants. So I'm not going to recraft them because these are really decent gloves for another character, which is a pain because I'm then going to have to redo the Eldritch ones on whatever gloves I craft. But essentially, these gloves are wasted. So what I'm going to look to do is recraft a pair with life, resistances, maybe suppression, attack speed, flat damage, just much better than these, essentially. The belt I've had for quite a while. It is really good though. It's got tons of resistances, okay life, and a little bit of LE damage with attacks. And then the boots are still the same boots. Now I did end up getting a 5 fracture in Harvest, but a 1 in 5, there wasn't really an item I could use it on. And I thought if I use it on the boots, it's basically if it does ailment, avoidance, movement speed, spell suppression, or even the rubbish life roll, it would be okay, but it fractured 47% evasion, which is amazing. If it was a like suffix or prefix fracture, I would have kept it for like an item later on, but a 1 in 5, you've got very little chance of hitting what you want to hit anyway. And then that's it for the gear. Flasks are the same, just diamond, jade, granite, life, and then a quicksilver flask. We'll quickly look at the tree, but I will go through the POB. I've picked up a intuitive leap, so I've used that just to get a few decent nodes without having to take all the travel nodes. And then I've got the interrogation, which is joined to a repeater eye to eye jewel, which I managed to craft with alterations and regals. So I've had to drop a few nodes on the tree. I've been able to drop the big suppression wheel and take the little one, and I'm bang on 100% capped, even when I'm not on full life. And then I dropped a couple of life nodes and then a couple of damage nodes from here. And that's allowed me to put my cluster jewel in with Secrets to Suffering. So in terms of how I farmed the jewels, if we go into my cluster jewel tab, so you see it's not the only jewel I've picked up. So I've picked up 3 others. So I've got one with nothing, which could be cool for a build. The other 2, no idea what you would do with those. I'm not much of an expert. And then Interrogation was the 4th one that dropped. If we go into my Delirium stash, this is how many simulacrums I farmed before the jewel dropped. And I probably was getting about 50 splinters per 2 Deli Orb map. So you can see that's quite a lot. Considering when I'm doing these maps, I'm not exactly really going for splinters. So I'm not getting huge amounts in each map. And that's how many it took. So what I was doing was taking the Delirium nodes on the tree. So I wasn't taking these ones here just because I didn't have the points to get there. Sorry, these ones here. Because didn't have the points to get there, but I've taken this wheel here, and then this wheel here, and then the mirror chance here. I've taken Stream of Consciousness to give the Deli Mirror more chance to spawn, and then blocked a lot of other content again to give it a better chance of spawning. And all I was doing was putting in any red map, wasn't bothered about the tier. Maps that I didn't have any interest in, like below tier 14 with layouts I didn't want to run. I was literally just putting the maps in. If there wasn't a Deli Mirror, I was sticking another one in. And then when the Deli Mirror come up, running it to get to like 5 rewards, kill the boss, and then I was normally getting 1, 2, sometimes even 3 Deli Orbs per mirror. And then when I got 2 orbs, I was just sticking them onto a red map, wasn't bothered what tier, getting it decently juicy with quantity and stuff, and then just running it. And then you've got 80% chance, I believe, with the 40% Deli maps for both the bosses to turn up, and it's just a case of killing the bosses and hoping they drop something good for you. So really, other than that, that's literally all I've been doing. And I was about to give up, and then I finally had the jewel drop. Today, I was very, very close to packing it in and just calling an end to the series because just my life at the moment was farming Deli Mirrors, and it was getting quite tiresome because it's something I'm doing kind of part-time on the side. But we had the jewel drops, and now that's giving me a little bit of motivation. Not a ton. I'm still starting to struggle a little bit, but at least I can push on a little bit further. So other than that, I was just hitting up any harvest I found, but I haven't really got any good crafts that I've come across and stored up. and then just farming loads and loads of essences. So what I'll do is jump into the POB, and then I'll go over really what my goals are for the next episode. So in terms of configuration, I don't really know how to configure Tornado Shot because it's so like RNG as to how many projectiles, secondary projectiles hit the boss. Are your ballistas up full and stuff? So the way I've set it up, I think I have 7 projectiles. So I've just said for now, and I'm not saying this is what it is, I've just said that when I'm on top of the boss, 5 out of 7 are going to hit. It might be 4, who knows, but I've put it at 5 and then 10 for the 3 ballistas. It doesn't really matter. I don't really judge DPS on these sort of builds by numbers. It's just purely by feel when you get up to a boss and you see how quickly the health bar goes down. And it's fairly decent against like Conquerors and stuff like that. So I think it's probably between, I would say, 3.5 to 4 million. I don't think I'm probably hitting with all of these. So if we were to take this down to say 8 and 4, then it's 4 million, which is maximum. So that's when your totems are down, you're on top of the boss, and that feels about right. Then in terms of configuration, I've just set Brittle, Scorch, and Sapped at what I got on my Hunter and my Guardian fights, and that was kind of the average of what I got. Projectile travel distance I've just set at short because I'm literally going to be on top of bosses when I'm fighting them. You got 50 resonance and then just leeching and frenzy charges. And that's kind of it. I don't really have anything else on the build in terms of what can boost up DPS. I've put frenzy charges because you get them so quickly on bosses. In a mapping scenario, you might not have them, although I could just slot Blood Rage and probably solve that problem. And other than that, there's not really much to show in the POB. What I really want to do is get a large cluster jewel that I can use. I'm looking for some sort of attack damage cluster jewel, but I've not had any drop. So I can't really slot a large one in that's efficient. And then this section of the tree would go. I would slot in a large, 2 mediums, and then that would give me a really decent boost to DPS. I might have to find stats and a bit of life on some of the jewels to make up for kind of this loss around this area. But overall, that would be the next goal for the build. So as we can see, if we look at the config with flasks up, so we have 100% crit chance with Brittle set at 7. It can actually go down to 4 with flasks up, and then I think it's 5 without. Let's have a look. No, so it's a bit more without. Yeah, so you're talking 6.5 Brittle when flasks are down, but obviously only 4 or 5 when my flasks are up. So on bosses, I'm getting sort of between 6.5 to 8, and that's absolutely fine. I don't need any more than that. But I would be looking to get some cold damage onto my quiver just to push the Brittle up a little bit more. And that's kind of it for the POB. There'll be a POB in the description, but there's really nothing special. I've bought a couple of different guides out for Tornado Shot this league, and it kind of follows the same premise. The other option that would be good but haven't had one drop is if I had like a Lionized Glare, I could maybe put some more bow nodes in, you know, drop this area of the tree, but it would leave me probably short on stats and definitely pretty low on life. I quite like having 4.2, 4.3k plus life. If I went this route here and dropped all that, I'm probably looking at like under 4k life, and that feels a little bit sketchy considering I don't have any like determination yet. And if I can get a large cluster jewel set up, then I'm going to look to get a small cluster jewel with some determination reservation on it. Maybe try and recraft a helmet to have the implicit as reservation and use the reservation essences to try and fit determination into the build as well. So that's it for POB. So all I really do is just talk through what my goals are for the next episode. What I need to do now is farm some Eldritch currencies because I don't have any of the Eater of Worlds ones, and I'm running pretty low on Embers. I've only got like the lesser ones. So it's probably time to take the altar nodes again on the tree. Yes, I'm going to die a lot, but I don't plan on leveling much further. So we take these ones here, we take this one here, and we probably go up and get this one as well. And then I can choose which one I want to farm. I can now realistically drop the deli ones because I've got everything other than the cluster jewel that I want from these farms. And cluster jewels I can get elsewhere. It doesn't have to be like, I'm not looking for this specific boss drop anymore. So I can drop Delirium and then just do a general farm for like Eater of Worlds and Exile. Or I may drop the Exarch nodes for a little while and just purely farm Ether for maybe a couple of days and then go back and do it the other way. I've not really decided. Yeah, that's really going to be the goal from the next episode. More Eldritch currencies and top up my essences. So if we go and have a look at my essences, they're looking okay, but most of them are ones that I'm saving on the hope that I get a an omniscience drop, which is very unlikely, and then I don't have much else. So I'm going to be looking to craft another bow to try and get that plus arrow bow. So that'll be with hatred, anger, and then wrath. And then for jewelry, I'm probably going to be looking for things like black cold damage, crit chance. Actually, no, I don't need crit chance. Something like crit multi, which I think are these ones. Oh no, they're these ones here. So yeah, crit multi on like an amulet or a quiver or a ring, and flat damage. So I've got loads and loads of essences I need to farm up to look to then push on and replace my gear. I've built up hopefully enough gym missions now because I've got Elrion on the board to actually get him to drop me one of these rings. I'm just having no luck at all with it. And then that'll be it for the next episode. Really, we'll get through another Exarch and Eater cycle probably, so I'll have another chance at a boss drop. And the only other thing to show is just this item that's on screen now, which is a Forbidden Flame Jewel I had drop in SSF, and it turned out being like a 70x jewel. So I made a character, migrated them to trade and sold it. So that might fund the next few builds that I look to do. I'm just not 100% sure what I want to do yet. So that's it for this episode. There's definitely going to be at least one more, be out in a few days. I just need to do some farming, try and improve the character a bit. And I think my goal is going to be, if we can get the maps, is going to be to run the, not feared, I'm not running feared, run the formed. So if we can get the formed bosses done, we'll see how we can go. Probably just a magic formed for now. I don't want to go and alch it and make it really hard and then fail because it's SSF. It might take me a while to get the bits I need to get that back again. So it'll probably just be a magic formed and see how we get on if this build can complete invitations at this stage. And then maybe try and push it to do Maven. I think I could definitely do because I find the fight quite easy. Uber Eldar I'm not as confident with. So I think I'll need some more DPS to do that. But I'd really love to end this series with getting all 4 Void Stones would be ideal. But that's it for this episode. So thank you very much for watching. Take care and see you all in the next one.